Hi everybody, so for this video, I am going to be talking about the weekly bestsellers of this week and tier ranking them, because I love to tier rank books that I read. It's fun, and a lot of other booktubers do this too. So the first book I wanted to talk about was one of my top reads of May, One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I have reviewed this book on my channel in an independent review video, which I will link in the description. As I said in that review, I love Carly Fortune's writing and how she transfers you back to Barry's Bay, which is the setting of Every Summer After. I love the dynamic between Alice and Charlie. It's very sweet. I gave this book 5 stars. The next book I'm currently reading for this tier list is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book was just released on June 3rd, and it is set during the time period of the International Space Program in the 1980s. And as I was just saying in a video that I did that will be out on June 10th, I just love Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing and how she transforms you to whatever time period this book is set in. In this book's case, it is Cape Canaveral, Florida in the 1980s during the beginning of the space program. So in my video where I did my mid-year freakout tag, I created my own prompt for this book where I paired this book up with the episode of Punky Brewster where they hear about the Challenger disaster happening. So I'm actually gonna hopefully watch that episode really soon, because I haven't watched it since it first aired. Well, it first aired in 1986 when I was 3 years old, but I watched Punky Brewster in reruns in the 1990s. So when I first watched this episode, I was probably 7. So this book gets 4.5 stars. The next category in this tier is Yes, Please. And there are 2 books in this tier. Sandwich by Catherine Newman, which was a reread. This is a book that is about a family that goes to a beach house in Sandwich, Massachusetts on Cape Cod every summer. And I connect to this book because I grew up going to a beach house that is near Cape Cod every summer. And I'm going back there on Saturday for our annual 4th of July family reunion, which I can't wait to go to because, again, this year I planned it. We have a family reunion where we have a family Olympics. And this year I planned it for the second time in a row. Second time in a row, because I planned it in 2022. And in 2022, the theme was Inside Out. And now this year I planned it, and the theme is TV shows of the generations. So the teams are Live from New York, ESPN, Beach, and Space and Fantasy. So I'm really excited to see what characters my family members dress up as. So, for example, for the Live for New York team, that's the team I'm on, the shows that people are going to be dressing up in costumes for are Friends, Saturday Night Live, Will and Grace, All in the Family, shows of that nature that are set in New York City. Seinfeld is another good one. The next book that I wanted to talk about in this tier ranking is The Service Berry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This book was actually recommended to me by Olive at A Book Olive, who has really good nonfiction recommendations. So if you are looking for new nonfiction books to read, please go check out her channel. I highly recommend her videos to you all. This book is a short little essay about saving the planet and how over-consumerism is hurting the environment. And in this time when we're going through global warming, I think this is very important for everybody to read. I gave it 4.5 stars. The last two books that I'm going to talk about are All Fours by Miranda July. This book is way too hyped up on BookTube, and I don't understand the appeal to it. I love Miranda July's writing style, and I heard her short story collection is really good from Carrie Kin Reads. There are a couple of booktubers that I follow that have read this book. Jack Edwards talked about it, and so did Carrie Kin Read. And also, I think maybe Sarah Caroli might have, and possibly Rachel, Catherine, and Destiny. So, yeah, I gave that book 2.5 stars because I couldn't stand the main character. I thought she was annoying, and it was all about sex, and I just can't get into stuff like that. And as I was talking about in my video where I did my mid-year book tag, I talked about how I love Emily Henry's writing, but Jack Edwards reviewed this book in his most recent video where he was trying to find a 5-star read. I think he gave this the same rating I did, which was 3 stars. And like he said, I would gladly wait a year or two for Emily Henry to come out with a new book because I love her books. This book was not my favorite out of all of her books. I think my top favorite is probably Beach Read, followed by Happy Place. But I think this book was too focused on the newspaper story that was being written about the reclusive celebrity, and focus really seemed to slip away from the relationship build-up between our main leads, Hayden and Alice. So, yeah, I mean, 3 stars is still a good rating. It's not bad, it's not good, but it ranks on the lower half of my tier ranking of Emily Henry books, right next to Book Lovers and People We Meet on Vacation. So, usually there's another category in between Yes Please and a letdown called What I Ordered, but no books were in that category this time. But a lot of anticipated reads will be read later this year that I hope will flesh out this tier ranking, and I can complete it again once I finish reading the rest of these books. So, my anticipated reads for this tier ranking are Everything Is Turburculosis by John Green, Emperor of Gladness by Ocean Vuong. I recently finished On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, and I love his writing style. It's very lyrical, so I'm very excited about Emperor of Gladness. I Who Have Never Known Men, which is a book I've heard other booktubers talk about that is on my Friends and Gilmore Girls TBR for November or December, but since I'm so far ahead in that TBR already, I'll be reading the November and December books probably by September or October. So that book is on my TBR once I get through the summer. The next book is My Friends, which is Friedrich Bachmann's new book. His writing style is also very lyrical. He is the author of the Beartown series, Anxious People, and A Man Called Ove, and I have loved all of his books. I still have to finish the Beartown series, but Beartown was 4 stars, so wasn't A Man Called Ove was 4 stars, 4.5 stars. Beartown was 4 stars, and Anxious People was 3.5 stars after I reread it and gave it 2.5. The next book is The Night and the Moth, which is by the same author as the Shepherd King duology, which I finished reading last month. 4-star duology, so I'm really excited to read The Night and the Moth. And the final anticipated read on this tier ranking is going to be The Let Them Theory, which is a self-help book by Mel Robbins, the Sarah Caroli talked about in her video where her boyfriend picked her reads for her. And I love it when they do videos together because it's very interesting to hear what Chris has to pick for books for Sarah. Chris is Sarah's boyfriend, and they've been together for a long time. And I think it's so cute that he refers to her as his wife in her videos when they go book shopping together. And I hope that's a hint that they're going to get engaged, because that would be amazing. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm just really hoping that it does. So anyway, as far as these books are concerned, where do I see them being placed on this tier ranking list based on other books I've read by these authors? With Everything Is Turburculosis, the other books that I have read by John Green are Looking for Alaska, which I gave 4.5 stars to, and I read another book by him last year. Now I can't remember the name of it. Maybe Looking for Alaska was the only book that I read by him last year. I don't remember. I would have to go back and look at my notes. My iPad is charging, so I can't look at my notes right now, unfortunately. I just talked about Ocean Vuong. This is the first book I have read by I Who Have Never Known Men. Is the first book that I have read by this author. So I don't know where I would put that in a tier ranking. Based on my ranking of John Green's other books, I mean, I can't remember. Once I think about it, I'll let you know. But I think I'm going to probably give Everything Is Turburculosis 3.5 stars or 4 stars. Emperor of Gladness, as I said earlier, I really loved Ocean Vuong's writing style in On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. So I have a feeling that Emperor of Gladness is going to get the same ranking as On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I Who Have Never Known Men, based on the ratings I've heard from this book from other people, I think my rating is going to be somewhere in the middle. Like, other people that I've heard reviews from of this book have either given it 3 stars or 4 stars, so I would probably rank it at the same range as them. With my friends, Sarah Caroli just read this book in one of her recent videos, and she gave it 5 stars. So based on what she rated it, and based on how I have liked Friedrich Bachmann's other books, I would say that my rating of my friends will probably be in either give me 14 of these or yes, please. The Night and the Moth will probably be yes, please, which is where the 4-star ratings go. And The Let Them Theory, I think Sarah gave that book 4 stars, but I would have to go back and watch the video she did with Chris again because I don't really remember. So that, The Let Them Theory may end up in what I ordered, which would make it be the only book in that category, because most of my other books that I have been reading, except for All Fours and Great Big Beautiful Life, which were letdowns, have been either yes please or give me 14 of these. So we will have to see. The book about cancer, right? What is that called? It had a movie too. Okay, I will have to... It's really bothering me. I can't remember the other John Green book that I read. I will have to look back at my notes, and then in my next video, I will have to... When I redo this tier ranking, I will have to also mention that other book by John Green in that tier ranking once I look his books up on Goodreads to remember what else I read by him. I think it was the book about the two characters that have cancer, but I don't remember. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great night.